On the shed, a phrase that to drivers and firemen means the end of the run, another journey safely completed. But it means much more than that. What does happen to an engine in between runs? Well, let's see. As soon as the train comes to a standstill, the driver makes an immediate examination of his engine. Practiced hands feel bearings and big ends. Yes, engines have big ends just like motor cars, so that any tendency to run hot can be corrected. Not much time to waste in the station, though. Platforms are required for other trains, so we must be moving.
Right, Tom.
Engine on the shed means another journey that starts when the coaches are backed slowly out of the station. A journey that is part of the system that keeps British Railways the safest and most reliable in the world. Near to all big traffic centres are located engine sheds, which in addition to serving as garages, act the part of father, mother and nursemaid to the 7,000 engines that are under their care. A carefully devised schedule of examination, cleaning and repairing ensures that every engine that takes the road will be as mechanically perfect as it is possible to make it. The engine shed, and there are 231 of them, is responsible for the engine's mechanical efficiency on the road.
Ease up.
The coaches are taken off to the carriage sheds, where they will be washed, cleaned and examined, ready for their next journey. And our engine is ready to go on the shed. The first job here is to turn the engine. The turntable turns the heaviest engines in 1.5 minutes. It is actually operated by the engine itself, by means of a vacuum tractor.
Back a foot. Whoa!
The engine correctly balanced, the locking bars are placed in position. The job is really simplicity itself. Connect the pipe to the vacuum on the engine. Operate the lever controlling the compression motor. And, well, the engine just goes around and around. And it finishes up here. The engine backs off the turntable to take a road for the water column. While the fireman waters the engine, the driver books on the pit.
$61.70, 10:30 ex Houston, on the shed, 2:35.
Water delivered at the rate of 1,000 gallons a minute fills the 4,000-gallon tank in, of course, 4 minutes, and the engine is ready for coaling. This modern modern coaling plant has a capacity of 350 tons. The tender of a modern express engine holds up to 9 tons of coal. Truckloads of coal are tipped bodily into the giant hopper, which, operated automatically, rises to the top of the building and discharges its contents into bunkers. The coaling plant can coal 4 engines at the same time with either of 2 grades of coal. A mechanical device records the number of the engine, dialed by the fireman, and the amount of fuel supplied. Imperative data for checking consumption. Water sprayed on the coal keeps down dust. A jigger sets in motion the flow of coal. From the coaling plant to the ash pits. Ashes which collect on the run are shoveled from the smoke box down a chute. Water again acting as a dust layer. The chute carries the ashes to a hopper, and the ash lifting plant discharges them direct into a wagon without intermediate handling. Now to remove the fire. First it is broken down with a pricker to facilitate lifting the fire out of the box. Then it is paddled out and thrown down the chute. Now to deal with the ash pan.
Open your damper, Tom.
After deadening the ashes with a hose, the ash pan is raked out. The ashes being carried through a grid in the floor to the hopper on the ash lifting plant.
It's an overcooked job this, Tom.
Despite the absence of the fire, the engine still has ample steam to take her to the shed. And here she will remain until it is time to get her ready for the next run. On the way to the driver's lobby to book off, the fireman hands in his tools and his shovel at the stores. In booking off, the driver makes out a report showing any defects in the engine which he may have found either when on the road or during his examination of it during his disposal on the shed. Where none is found, a special form is provided. He also makes out a form giving his booked workings, any deviations from these being noted. These forms, together with the guard's statement to the driver, are handed in at the office. Any unusual features of the run, besides being set down on paper, are reported verbally with the driver.
Lost 2 minutes of Stafford, George, but right time in. She's a good one, 61.70. Cheerio.
The engine shed is more than a stable for locomotives. Each one, for instance, is equipped with the stores wherein may be obtained not only the daily requisites of the run, but practically every type of spare that may be required to execute running repairs. In addition to carrying out these running repairs, the engine shed looks after the welfare of the engines in another way. Engines undergo a carefully planned series of exhaustive examinations at certain periods during their lives to ensure that they are maintained in as near perfect condition as it is possible to make them. Quite apart from this, all engines are examined daily by a fully qualified fitter. Eventually, the time arrives when the engines require a general overhaul, and then they are sent away to the central works to emerge again as almost new engines. Nothing is ever left to chance in the engine shed, care and maintenance being amply repaid in operating efficiency. The repair work and examination to the various engines shown on the screen is typical of the work that is done in the engine shed. And now we must return to our engine. It is time she was got ready for her next run. The first task is no job for heavyweights. The bar boy cleans the scale that accumulates on the inside of the firebox, which unless removed would cause loss of heat. Now to get some fire into her. The steam raiser's job, this. First, test the water in the boiler. Shut off the steam cocks and see that the regulator is closed. Yes, it's done with 2 ordinary household fire lighters. And when your fire won't burn, think of the steam raiser and the size of his fire and try again. The steam raiser will visit the engine periodically to put on more and more coal. The steam pressure rises steadily. When you say, I love you, la-da-dee, la-dee, la-dee, la-da-dee, la-dee, la-dee, la-da-dee.
Again this morning, Tom.
Booking on. The driver signs for printed details issued periodically to all train crews, setting out information affecting the running of trains. Crews also receive details of the trains they are to work and their time cards. Engine preparation follows a careful routine to which the driver and fireman adhere instinctively. Efficiency in operation, especially at high speeds, demands attention to detail in preparation, and the engine certainly gets it. Arrived at the engine, the fireman's first job, after checking the amount of water in the boiler, is to attend to his fire. The engine must be well up in steam by the time it leaves the shed. For the driver, engine preparation means a minute examination of all the moving parts on the engine and oiling up. The engine has already been thoroughly examined by a fitter, so that the driver's examination acts as a double check. Sand is used to prevent wheel slip on wet or greasy rails. Important to see that the sand boxes are full before the start of the journey. Test the vacuum brake, and it is almost time to be off. Number 6170 is ready for the road. British craftsmanship has made her a thing of beauty and of power. That she is able to stand as a worthy upholder of a great tradition of safety and security in transport is in no small measure due to the time she spends on the shed.
Right, Tom.